John, an old man now. His beard, white as wool, spoke of years etched by hardship and faith. Banished to the desolate Isle of Patmos, he clung to the words of his beloved master. His heart yearned for the promised return. Then it happened. On the Lord's Day, a voice like a trumpet shattered the silence. John turned, his heart pounding. A figure stood before him, radiating unimaginable glory. His face like the sun at its zenith, his eyes blazing flames. In his hand he held 7 stars, and from his mouth came a double-edged sword, sharper than any known to man. Fear threatened to consume John, but the figure spoke, his voice a blend of thunder and comfort. "Fear not," he said. "I am the first and the last. I am he who lives, and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And I have the keys of Hades and of death." John fell at his feet as though dead, but a reassuring hand touched him. "Do not be afraid," the voice echoed again. "I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star." He was told to write, to record the visions he was about to receive, to reveal the fate of humanity and the glorious return of the King. A mighty angel descended from heaven. In his hand he held a heavy chain and a key, the key to the bottomless pit. He seized the dragon, that ancient serpent, the deceiver, Satan himself. Bound and helpless, the enemy of God and man was cast into the abyss. The pit was sealed. 1,000 years of peace settled upon the earth. During this time, John witnessed a wondrous sight. The souls of those beheaded for their testimony of Jesus and those who refused the mark of the beast were resurrected. They lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. This was the first resurrection reserved for the faithful. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years were ended. This was the time appointed for the judgment. The 1,000 years were over. The time had come for the final judgment. Satan was released from his prison for a short while. He would have one last chance to deceive the nations. John watched as a great white throne appeared in the heavens. The earth and the sky fled from the presence of the one who sat on it. His glory was too immense, his holiness too pure. Then the books were opened. The book of life lay open before the throne. Every soul, great and small, stood before the judge. Their deeds, their thoughts, their very intentions were laid bare. Nothing was hidden. Nothing could be concealed. Those whose names were not found written in the book of life were cast into the lake of fire. This was the second death. The finality of it echoed through eternity. John witnessed a breathtaking transformation. The first heaven and the first earth passed away. The sea vanished, swallowed by the enormity of what was to come. In their place, God created a new heaven and a new earth. Gone was the pain, the suffering, the sorrow of the old. This new creation was perfect, pure, and bathed in the radiant light of God's presence. It was a place where righteousness dwelt, where sin and death held no power. John could only watch in awe as the old order gave way to the glorious new. And then, John saw it. Descending from heaven, adorned as a bride prepared for her husband, was the holy city, the New Jerusalem. The city gleamed with the glory of God, its brilliance like a precious jewel, clear as crystal. Its walls were massive and high, with 12 gates guarded by 12 angels. Each gate was a single pearl. The foundation of the city wall was adorned with every kind of precious stone. The city was a masterpiece of celestial craftsmanship, a testament to the glory of God. John watched, mesmerized, as the city unfolded before him. There was no need for the sun or the moon to shine on it, for the glory of God illuminated it, and the Lamb was its light. The nations of those who are saved will walk in its light. The kings of the earth will bring their glory and honor into it. Its gates will never be shut by day, and there will be no night there. And then he saw it, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb, a river of water of life, clear as crystal. On either side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 fruits, yielding its fruit every month. The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. The river symbolized God's life-giving presence, flowing eternally through the city. It was a promise of constant renewal, of life everlasting, quenching the deepest thirst of the soul. John gazed at the tree of life, its branches heavy with 12 kinds of fruit. Each month it yielded a new harvest, a symbol of God's unending provision and abundance. The leaves of the tree, he was told, were for the healing of the nations. This was not just physical healing, but a healing of the soul, a restoration of all that had been broken and lost. In the New Jerusalem, there would be no more tears, no more pain, no more death, only the perfect wholeness of God's eternal presence. Then John heard the voice of the one who sat on the throne, a voice filled with both power and tenderness. "It is done," the voice proclaimed. "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give of the fountain of the water of life freely to him who thirsts." This was an invitation, open to all who would hear, an invitation to leave behind the old life of sin and striving, and to embrace the free gift of God's grace and love. John knew that what he had seen and heard was not just for him. He was to write these things down, to bear witness to the truth. "Blessed are those who do his commandments," the voice echoed, "that they may have the right to the tree of life, and may enter through the gates into the city." But there was also a warning. For outside the city were the cowardly, the unbelieving, the abominable, the murderers, the sexually immoral, the sorcerers, the idolaters, and all liars. Their portion would be in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. The time was near. The choice was clear. As John penned these final words, his heart overflowed with awe and wonder. He had seen the end, the culmination of all things, the victory of good over evil, the triumph of light over darkness, the establishment of God's eternal kingdom. "I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you these things in the churches," the voice resonated. "I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star." And with that final declaration, John knew his task was done. He had been entrusted with a message of hope, of warning, of ultimate victory. The prophecy was clear. The promise was sure. The time was near.